You know, there's something that we all do day in and day out. There's something that we all rise up early in the morning to accomplish. And there's something that makes us get out of bed every morning. And many of us may think that it's our job. Many of us may think that it's the 9 to 5. Many of us may think that the reason we get out of our comfort zone and push ourselves beyond our own limitations, it's because we are running after a paycheck. Well, today in Agents in the Trenches, we're going to have a deep dive conversation with two amazing real estate industry leaders that really align with something that moves me and that has really shifted my trajectory in life as a woman, as a business entrepreneur, as a mother, as a human being. And that is finding my purpose in life, really getting to the point in life where I understand the difference between purpose and profits. So, welcome to Agents in the Trenches, the real, raw realities of what people in the real estate industry deal with day in and day out. And we've had top producers here. We've had people that are, move makers, action takers, history makers. And today I am going to have an amazing conversation with two humans that I know are going to bring a different perspective, but a perspective that I feel needs to be understood so much better. You see, I'm the first one that always tells people, don't tell me what you sell. Tell me why you sell it and give me the benefits. Because like John Maxwell always says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So go ahead. If you're watching live, give me a hashtag live. And if you're watching on replay, give me a hashtag replay. Tell me where you are watching from and go share this with everyone you know, because I know this is going to be a heartfelt, thought-provoking conversation. Well, I had the honor of meeting one of my guests not too long ago when he showed up to my Winners Wednesday Productivity Bootcamp. And as a matter of fact, I was not even in the room, but I've surrounded myself with winners. I've surrounded myself with men and women that are hungry to scale, that are hungry to make a difference, that are willing to push themselves, just like me, beyond their own limitations. And when I was back from traveling, I was told there was this incredible gentleman that came to Winners Wednesday Productivity Bootcamp, and he wants to meet you, Lucy. And so, yes, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Luis Castaneda. So let me bring Luis into the room, and I want to thank you, Luis,
Thank you so much,
for
Lucy.
joining me today. Let me tell everybody a little bit about you. Luis is a managing director at Lighthouse Insurance Group, a location in Lee County that not only serves families and people with their insurance needs, but also focuses on protecting their assets and making sure that they are well taken care of. He combines his profession and focus with faith and family values. Welcome, Luis. I'm so happy that you're here with us today.
Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you for having me here this morning. I'm so happy that we get to partner together in this podcast today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, if there's anything you want to highlight from who you are, please take 30 seconds and tell us more about who is Luis beyond what Luis does day in and day out.
So beyond what I do every day. So we have an insurance agency, and daytime we're insurance agents. But at nighttime we're leaders at home, right? We're faith driven at home. We lead our families, or in my case, my wife, my children, not only in the things of this world, but the things, the spiritual things, the things that really matter. So that's who I am. I love to teach my family, to guide them in a faith perspective.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, I want to open up this conversation also with our next guest. And this gentleman, I met from afar through the leader of this organization that is here locally serving families and serving, buyers in our industry. And I was very impressed with his persona, with his professionalism. So I want to introduce our next guest, Malcolm Gianella. Welcome, Malcolm. How are you?
Very good. I'm very glad to be with you guys.
Yes, thank you for accepting the invitation. And I want everyone to know that Malcolm is Naples based, and he represents the mortgage industry with the Maxwell mortgage team. at Cross Country Mortgage, and he helps buyers and homeowners really navigate through those lending processes that are not easy. And one thing that I can say is that Malcolm and the Maxwell Mortgage team can get a loan done for anyone, doesn't matter the impossibilities. So thank you so much, Malcolm, for being here with us on this podcast, Agents in the Trenches, that is being watched not just locally, nationally, but also internationally. Is there anything else you want to share with us about you and what you do?
Yeah, and by somehow my iPods, they're dead. Can you hear me very well?
We can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear us? Okay. I think that
I
Malcolm
think
is
I have
having some
difficulties. I don't hear
technical
anybody.
difficulties. So we're gonna bring you back up, Malcolm, in a moment. So Louis, let's continue with you. I love what you said about, family, faith, and serving the community. Let's talk a little bit about service under pressure, right? Because we all understand pressure in moments when clients are overwhelmed, in moments when clients are afraid, when things are just not going right, in moments where maybe you have a difficult client. How do you lead with service? How do you lead from a perspective of service instead of pressure in those moments?
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we do, Lucy, we work with a lot of new buyers, and I feel like they do get a lot of pressure. They're getting pressure from documents that they need to have, and pressure from their finances, and they start to think of the what ifs of life. So we definitely help them calm themselves in that aspect. Insurance is a very complicated topic. So our motto is really guidance to simplified insurance solutions. Like, we really focus on making that transaction seamless with them. So we try to not overcomplicate things. Give them as many or as few options as they want. Sometimes they just want to get through closing, and they want to be able to, they don't want all the noise, which I feel like, in our job, like, we like to educate people, but there is a thing of over educating, right? Where it's like they don't want to know every single aspect of their policy. They just want to know that the day of the claim, they're going to be covered, right? They want to make sure that their asset is protected. So I think that's very important, to take that approach, and not really over complicate something for them, and really simplify it for them, especially when they're in that new home purchase process.
Let's take it a step further. I mean, you deal with one of the um, services that sees a lot of difficulties, because
Yes.
normally when people reach out to you as an agent, and I know this from firsthand experience, it's either when one of the first or worst storms came in, they've
Yes.
lost everything, or their house is burnt down, or give us a story that comes to mind where you had to go beyond the service, you had to go beyond the policy, you really had to go beyond the call of duty into that servant leadership, that you just knew that you were being called to step up.
Yeah, that's a great one, Lucy. So, during Hurricane Ian, we had, lots of claims. We had lots of policyholders with claims, and we stepped into a different role. So, our office was always open, our regular hours, but opening Saturdays and Sundays for our clients was something that we did. It was an initiative that we took. We relocated part of our staff to the other coast, because we know the importance of a client, needing to put in a claim, needing to start the claims process, and really needing the help for it. So it's one of the initiatives that we really took, and we ran with it. It was one of those things that we had to. It was, you had to do it. It's an action thing that we had to do. We left, right after the storm, we left. We relocated the team. Everyone had their, access to clients' files to be able to really serve our clients. We can't serve clients with no internet and no power. So that was one of the big things that we did. We definitely helped clients file those claims and get the process started. We all know it's a painful process and it takes time, but it is one of the things that we definitely emphasize on when it comes to a catastrophe, like Ian was.
Wow, I can't
Yeah.
imagine. I mean, and we all lived it, right? We were all here. So we're going to come back to talking about those difficult moments and servant leadership uh, within your industry. But let's go ahead and bring back our other guest, Malcolm Gianella. And I hope Malcolm is now able to
Well,
hear as
testing
well.
1, 2, 3.
All right, welcome, Malcolm. Well, I introduced you. Go ahead and tell us in 30 seconds a little bit more fun facts about who Malcolm Gianella is and what you'd like our audience to know about you.
Well, Malcolm, is what you see is what you get. So when every client that I speak with any connection that I have, this is the same kind of person that I am now. And then I'm not scripted. Most of the time, I have a script that I have to go through, and then I ended up changing everything because I fill the room. And then, as you see, something happened today, like we have no connection whatsoever. So it's one of those things, like, when you do things in life. My real life is very simple, very easy. Um, I work 24/7. When I mean that is sometimes I'm in my weekends and then I keep talking with people because the idea what I have is to help everyone to be a homeowner. So even when I'm in my free time traveling, when I'm in the plane, when I'm in the boat, when I'm in the restaurant, when I'm at McDonald's buying something, I always try to help people and they see that I show them there is opportunity for them to get what they need. So
I
since I was
love it.
a kid, I was like raised as a Christian, and then I always have that service. But when I start in the mortgage business, I'm gonna bring that service back to the community, help people.
I love that. So, Lewis and I were just talking about, how we provide service under pressure because not every client is ideal. Not every situation is easy. Not every experience is one that, doesn't really test us. And as servant leaders, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to welcome both of you together on our podcast, Agents in the Trenches, is because our industry can always use more servant leaders, people that put their purpose before their profits and things like that. And I know both of you have that kind of integrity and that level of understanding. So, Malcolm, let me ask you this question that I was sharing with Lewis, and we'll just continue this conversation together. Tell us about a time when, it was service under pressure, when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty and just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Do you recall a moment like that?
Well, every day my life is one of those. um, but recently we have a one that we're trying to help save a deal from a client. Me and Lauren, as you know, like we're partners from Maxwell Mortgage, so we do everything possible to get this deal. And then sometimes women they like to deal with men different than women, and then
Uh-huh.
apparently prior he has some issues with then another mortgage company with a builder, and then realistically, it's like she was about to just drop it and then about to lose $10,000 because after 4 months, she said that was a headache. So she gave me a little task to get that done in 10 days. So
Wow.
we closed it last Friday, and then we were in Cancun for the top 100 from the cross country mortgage, the top in the industry nationwide. And then we received the clear to close, and we were able to close that Friday.
Nice. Awesome. We have some questions from the audience. So, yes, I want to encourage the audience to drop their questions. I also want to encourage everyone to share this live. We've got a beautiful amount of people that have joined us so far. And our biggest audience, guys, so you know, is on our replay. So our biggest audience is on our replay. And so, this is an opportunity for you to be visible and really tell more about not just what you do, but who you are behind what you do. So we have a question, and this question is, good morning. I have a question. How does Lighthouse Insurance Group differentiate itself in such a crowded industry? So Louis, that's for you. How do you
That's a great
differentiate yourself?
question.
Yeah, it
That's a great
is.
question. So Lighthouse Insurance, we're an independent agency, right? So when you go to certain agencies, you go to State Farm, they've got State Farm. You go to Allstate, they've got Allstate. So we are truly an independent agency. We work with over 200 different carriers, right? And the purpose of having the carrier access for us is to have options for everyone, right? Not every home is perfect. Not every home was built in 2026 and has a brand new roof, and we understand that. So we do our in-house underwriting for your files, right? So we review everything. We make sure that when we're finding a carrier partner for you, that we are aligning both your needs and the carrier's wants, right? Because
Mhm.
it's a medium, a happy medium that we have to meet. So it's important that we do that. So that's one of the things that we do. We're always out there seeking new carrier partners. We just added two of them this past month. So we're out there
Okay.
always finding new carriers and new options for our clients, because at the end of the day, that's what they're looking for, right? They're looking for good options and for things that in this market that are affordable, because it's still a rough market.
Yes, and I don't think it's going to get easier. Actually, it's a market where it brings out the genius in you, right? So that's such an interesting question. Let me pass it over to Malcolm. Malcolm, how do you guys differentiate yourself in such a crowded market? Because my goodness, there's a bunch of people in mortgage, right? But you
Yes.
guys are unique and you're authentic. And what makes you be that?
Well, that make us being different than anybody else is the service. The service what we provide, we try to always like go beyond of expectations, and then we always consistent, we always clear, and then the most important thing, we never lie to a client. We tell them exactly how things are, and then the solution, if at the moment we see, for example, like their credit is bad, so they need to get like this interest because it goes accordingly with the credit. But then also we show them the possibility how later on in the creative plan, how they can be able to get better when the refinance time is coming. So we not only lenders for one transaction, we lenders for life, because we ended up helping all the family, all the friends, all the referrals that we have from them. They're coming directly with the people they know, which is very, very important because of the service that we provide.
Wow. That's awesome. We also have another question here for, let's see, for Malcolm. Given the current, this is a good one because I mean, like Louis was saying, we are living in a market that is definitely difficult. Given the current market conditions, what are the most common mistakes you see buyers making that end up costing them their loan approvals? Oh my goodness, that's a good one.
Well, there's so many. I'm gonna, I'm gonna say a couple things. So the most important one is when they're in the transaction and they got pre-approved, sometimes they're so excited and they decide to go and buy some furniture. So they open a credit card and then voila. And then, that is a problem because sometimes we have to count, well, most of the time, we have to count that debt against them. Per se, the person has very limit of debt that they can get to get pre-approved, and then they have like now like a, something that have to pay 200, 300 a month, and then now they put the loan in jeopardy. So or they're so excited, so they have the cash, and then they go like, "Woo! I'm gonna get a truck," and then that's it. They don't have the money for closing because they were expecting another transaction coming soon, but that didn't happen. Also those
Yes.
that really happened. Um, But we are ahead of the game. So we have a form that we give them to the client. It's called like the 10 commandments. So
Oh,
things they should not be doing in the process of the loan. And then we go through for each of them so everybody understands.
wow. And you know what? It's funny because it's true. People get so excited. We got to prove we're going to go close on our home. We're on our way. I mean, they show up at a department store and they don't even realize. They tell them, you want to get an extra 20% off on all these things. Just, fill out your information and we'll get you 20% off. Get the card today. And they don't even like realize what they just did. They just messed up their whole loan. So I like that about the Ten Commandments. So let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to our servant leadership because this is a topic that I love. So I want to ask both of you gentlemen, we'll kick it off with Louis. Let's talk about integrity over income, right? Give us a story. Share with us a moment where you had to find yourself doing the right thing for a client and putting your integrity before the income in that situation, right?
Thank you, Lucy. Yes. I'm gonna be true. It's truly honest. That is what we lead by. In every single client. Um, Sometimes some carriers have incentives and different things, and personally, we don't look at that. We don't look at what it's gonna pay or what's in it for us. Our job is truly to help the client find the best rate for them, find the best coverage for them, right? And we let the client decide. We give them all the options. We want them to have all the bells and whistles because the day of the claim, there'll be a lot less declinations. Like if
Mm-hmm.
the client, purchases screen enclosure coverage, yes, it's more premium and yes, it might mean a little bit more for us, but at the end of the day, we just care about the coverage part. We just care that the call is going to be much easier to say, hey, don't worry about it. They're going to take care of it and replace your screen enclosure, because it blew away. That for us is more important. The
Mm.
dollar amount at the back end, it really is irrelevant to us. And I think that those are the things that I bring to our team. And I'm like, if they have a better policy, they've got a better policy. And you tell the client that. Sometimes,
Okay.
if we lose the client, they went somewhere else and maybe they got, some other rates. And a lot of the times we work with the carrier, but, we intentionally quote the client, ahead of the renewal. Some agents out there will reduce coverage and do different unique things to reduce their premium that doesn't
Mm.
always benefit the client.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we tell the client, hey, send us what they gave you. We always like to lead with education because we feel like it's the most important thing. And like Lucy says, you don't know what you don't know. And we tell the
Right.
client just that. We're like, hey, so I see, this is the coverage that we had for you. These are the low deductibles we had for you. This is what they're offering you. Did they explain to you, what you're losing? You're losing
Right.
$100,000 in property damage. Are you comfortable with that? That's
Right.
definitely something that anyone could do, right? So now it's no longer apples to apples, it's apples to oranges, and they don't, the coverages aren't matching up. So that's important for us. It's important for us to lead with integrity, to make sure that clients know what's going on, and also, it's how we lead our team. So we tell them, hey, look, if they do have something, and maybe they're working with a captive carrier that we don't work with, if it's truly a better policy, you tell the client that. You're like, you know what, at this moment, that is a better policy, and I recommend you go with it, and
And
that
that's
is
a tough
okay.
one.
That
Yeah,
is
that's a tough one. It's
that
tough
is
to, but you know what? At the end of the day, I always believe that what, comes around goes around, as
That's
they
right.
say. So Malcolm, tell us a little bit about your servant leadership and when you've had to put your integrity before the income.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because sometimes, most of the time, in common is cash to close. Sometimes the client is at the last minute doesn't have any money, or things change, and then there's few things that we have to do in order to make that happen. Doesn't happen often, but most of the time, for example, if we have to give a credit to the client, so we have to, it's not about like just making money. So the other thing what we do, and then we use the most lately, is the down payment assistance. And the major
Okay.
lenders don't want to do those programs because reality is, in commission wise, you don't get the full commission. You only get percentage of that. But it's not about,
Mm-hmm.
it's just about to serve. So
Mm-hmm.
my idea is if you have those programs available for someone, it's not about how much I cash,
Mm-hmm.
how much I can help, because maybe the percentage I'm getting from that specific person for that specific loan, I'm gonna get the less. I'm gonna get more coming up later on because
Right.
they have a aunt, they have a cousin, they have a neighbor, they have like so many
Oh
people,
yeah.
and then like you said, what goes around comes around. So
Yes.
um, our deal here is to serve, and then if we have these programs available, so we must use them.
I love this type of conversation because, yes, we're talking about what you guys do. Obviously, Lewis with insurance, Malcolm with mortgage. But, I've become obsessed with servant leadership. I've become obsessed with putting our purpose before our profits. I've become obsessed with this new way of doing business, which is really a kingdom mindset, and we need more kingdom
Yeah.
mindset business operators in the industry because, there's so many people that are looking for guidance, for direction, for someone that really cares. And it's hard to find it in our industry. Let's be real. Everybody gets into real estate or gets into some type of real estate industry because, hey, let's be real. There's money to be made. There's a lot of profits to throw around. I want to talk about standards because I remember back in 2003, I took a training with a very well renowned trainer, and he always had this saying, which was get by giving. And it never made more sense than now to me. It never made more sense than now to me because I'm in a space and a place of my life where I do so much more for free than I've ever done in my entire life and career. But I wouldn't change it for the world because it is true. You get by giving. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your get by giving standards. Give us some examples of what are your get by giving standards. Do you even operate under this? Because there's no judgment, right? There's no shame in the game. We all operate differently. But do you have any stories behind the get by giving philosophy? Is it new to you? Is it interesting? What do you guys think?
Yeah. That like I was mentioning earlier, so we lead by education, right? And we give a lot of education to clients. We're teaching them about things on policies that they don't know, right? um, and sometimes you're giving them information on what they have right now, even if it's better than what you have to offer them, right? I've seen some old policies out there that have unlimited loss of use or loss of rental, or unlimited expenses after a loss. So these are really hard coverages to obtain in the market today. And a lot of the times, we're educating the client, we're going through these things, and we're telling them, hey, you have a guaranteed renewable policy. Yes, it's at whatever rate they have at the time, but I probably wouldn't let that go. And that's okay because I've gotten the best referrals from clients that I never helped, right? I wasn't able to write them a policy, but I helped them in ways that you can't repay, right?
I love
Um,
that. That's
I,
great. Yeah.
I would continue to pay the bill on that policy until they no longer want your money, because I see them on policies. It's not very common, but there are still some of them out there, and I definitely make the recommendation to clients based on their needs. If they can't afford it, that's a different need, right? And that's a different conversation. But if it's if money isn't a thing and I see those policies out there, I tell them I personally I would not switch it. I would not make the change right now and definitely stay with it. And I feel like that
That's
comes from
awesome.
integrity standpoint. Yeah.
Yes. Malcolm, tell us about your Get by Giving philosophies.
Well, actually, it's not philosophy. I think it's an exercise. So
Okay.
I just want to tell everyone this. So I mentioned before, like what the things I do, but in order to get there, you need to have those values. So if you don't have those values, it's so easy how to get them. For example, first thing in the morning, the first person you see, say good morning. So if somebody needs the door being open, be a gentleman. Open the door for them. If somebody needs a little help with the bag to the supermarket, help them out. Say, hey, you want me to help with this? So, and that starts. And later on, you can apply those things in your business. So, for example, like how are we going to be able to be open and define business out there if we have issues connecting with people. Now, with those exercises, like always say hi, introduce yourself, and they help another one. So they're going to help to build that little part that you need, for example, in the service. So
Mm-hmm.
I did in the past, I helped in the shelter um, with dogs and puppies. And then I thought that was kind of cute back then. And that was the easy thing to do. And then, realistically, it's not because you see, like, here's the old dog, they need some help and they need the new home. And you see a puppy. So everybody
Uh-huh.
goes to the puppies and you see, like, the old dog sad, like waiting, you know? So those things, and in the same respect, when we look in the humans, it's the same. Everybody wants to help, like the youth, the young. What happened with the when you get into that age, you don't have that patience. So, with that being said, is if we do the right thing and we do these exercises, the world is going to be better. Your world is going to be much
Yeah,
better.
I love that. Let's talk about something that I've learned in this walk of servant leadership, in this walk of, using more wisdom than even instinct, right? Because sometimes our feelings are fickle. So we can feel one thing, but we know we've got to lean more into our wise self. Non negotiables. So tell me, what are your non negotiables when you're running your business? What would some of those non negotiables be?
Non-negotiables for me are not completing the task. That's a non-negotiable. You start something, you finish it. That's one of the big things, and I learned that early on. Um, back in my hospitality days, I had an executive chef, and we all have that. I want to say, I don't know if maybe I'm the only one. I don't know if maybe everyone else can agree. We all have that attitude growing up, like, oh, that's not my job, right? Did
Oh
anyone else
yeah,
have that? Or was that just me?
it's not on my job description.
That's not my job, right? And he told me, Louis, everything is your job. And that really built me,
I love it.
to be resilient, to see things through. It's not just, jumping a hurdle. It's jumping the hurdle and winning the race, or jumping the hurdle and finishing the race, right? And I feel like that definitely stuck with me, where it made me take ownership, and that's a big thing that I'm on. I'm like,
Wow.
take ownership of it. You messed up. Call the
Yes.
client, tell them we messed up, right? Tell them you messed up, but find an answer, find a solution first. Don't just say we messed up and that's it. Like, go away. It's like, no, we messed up, and this is what we could do to solve it. So
Wow.
that's definitely a not negotiable for us. Um, Same way I lead my team. I'm like, take ownership of it. It's yours. The phone call rang. The client was upset. Don't give it to someone else. It's yours. That one's yours. Take it, love it, and deal with it. So that's really one of my big pet peeves on, negotiable, because I learned that early on, and I feel like that built me to be resilient, when it comes to dealing with clients and making the difficult calls. So
I love
that
these.
is one of my non-negotiables.
I love these conversations. Malcolm, what's one of your non-negotiables?
My non-negotiable is tell me the truth. I want to know the
Mm.
truth and the truth and the only truth. So, uh, Everything happens in the moment of the first connection when you have with someone, just to set up your expectations, like relationship, like work, like anything. Everything is like a game. Let's play like we're gonna play a poker, okay? So everybody shows their cards, but then also there are some guidelines, some rules in order to play that game. It's the same thing happen in any type of business. So you have to put things out there and to tell the client or tell whoever you are with, this is the things that I need to get through this, and to tell me the truth, because it's better now to tell me everything than later on find out and they won't be able to get it done because we or you didn't say something that was very important for the transaction, or just simple for any type of business that we do, not only a mortgage, it can be in the real estate, it can be as a lawyer. Let's play as a lawyer. I'm defending you. And then you didn't tell me like the most important thing you can help your case. And then because you omit that, you're hanged.
Very true. That's awesome. Yeah.
Both of those are very strong pillars in running our business. I mean, those are very, very solid pillars. My non-negotiable is excellence. Like, there's no reason why we cannot be excellent at what we do. I'm not saying perfect, because perfection doesn't exist. Perfection, in my opinion, is something we strive for in everything that we do. But don't you guys agree you can tell when somebody did their best or when somebody just gave it just enough?
Yeah.
Those just enough moments, they get on my nerves. Like, where are you going in life that you're just enoughing yourself, right? In the time that we have left, because I want to respect your time, right? And time flies when you're having fun. What would be one thing that you really feel in your heart you want people to know about you that may not be obvious? Because let's face it, people see us in public, people see us in networkings or events, people see us on social media, which is the biggest fantasy land we have in existence right now on the planet. People may know who Lewis is. People may, how can I say this? People may think they know who Lewis is. People may think they know who Malcolm is. But I've learned we really don't know the human behind the face and the name. So what is one thing you would really feel from your heart you would like people to know that may not be so obvious?
I like solving problems. I don't know why, but if I feel like it's something that I've always had. My wife tells me all the time, "We're like, you're always trying to solve a problem." Like, if I see somebody struggling, like, maybe somebody's struggling with their tech, right? Like when we started today, I feel like, oh, I can help. Like, I want to help, and I feel like that's one of the things that I don't know if everyone knows about me, but if they're close enough to me, I think they might have realized that by now. And it isn't something that I intentionally do to be. I'm not trying to be a superhero, but I just feel like I'm like, wait, I can help with that. Like, I've done it before. And that for me is one of those things that people may not know that. But I like to help people in different things, right? Whether I'm getting someone's calling us because they have an escrow shortage, and I'm like, okay, let's find it. Follow the money. Where did it go? Where did the money go? Oh, they had a forced place coverage last year. They had it for 6 months. That's where the money went. Or maybe they had a policy refund them and they didn't realize that they got the refund on it, or maybe they never got the check. Like, I actually like problem solving, and it's one of the things that I guess I've realized
You're good at it.
after many years. I'm like, wait, I actually enjoy that. It fills me. So
Nice. That's
that's
awesome.
one of the things. Yeah.
Malcolm, what's something you'd like people to know that's not obvious?
So one of the things people probably don't know me is I'm a connector. So behind of the image that I show, I care. I listen very well. So people need, for example, if somebody is new in business, somebody is trying to make it, I'm gonna start looking at my side, how I'm gonna help that person without thinking like what I'm gonna get from that, because it's not what I'm looking for. I like to help. And then if somebody is like, for example, a builder, somebody is like starting like cake business, somebody is starting, I don't know, just name it. And then I'm going to get something to help that person to proceed. I also tell everyone, use my social media. It's open. So many people see my views, see my posts, see my page, and then advertise in my page because this is the way how you're gonna expose. And then don't be
Mm,
afraid. This is what I'm here for. But like Lucy, like you mentioned, that it's like sometimes we judge for what we see up front, and then we don't
mhm.
know the inside behind. So many people, they come to me and they say like, oh, I didn't know you were this cool. I thought like you were like this and this. But it is the way how we sometimes we show, but are not
Mhm.
necessarily who we are.
And that's why I think there's a wise saying that goes a little bit like, don't judge its book by its cover,
Yeah.
because not everything that shines is gold. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
gold filled, right? And I think that we're living in a society where we really have to take a moment and find a human connection. So we've been enjoying this for almost 45 minutes. We got 2 minutes more to go. I just want to close out, first of all, honoring both of your times because I know you guys are super busy. I
Thank
know
you,
that your
Lucy.
times are extremely valuable. Your time is your life, and we only have one life to live. What do you want my audience, both locally, nationally, and internationally, now and in the future? Because this is going to be on here, who knows how long, right? People will be seeing it. Um, what do you want their number one uh, thing that they can take away from this interview with you, this conversation, this deep dive that we've had about not just what you do, but who you are behind what you do? What would be the number one thing you want them to, one thing that you want everyone to walk away with when it comes to servant leadership in our industry?
Awesome. That's a great one, Lucy. Um, I think I have to fall back on my taking ownership. I feel like that goes in every single industry, in every single position that you're in at the moment. You might be, I don't know, a bus boy at a restaurant. You might be, um, I don't know, the president of the United States. So no matter what role you have in life, if you can take ownership of what you're
Wow.
doing each day, right? If you can really sit down and say, you know what, this is we're not in an assembly line, right? We're not like, oh, that's my job. I put doors, I put nails, like it's no longer that, right? We're living in a society where it's like if you touched it, it's yours, right? If you walked by trash on the ground and you didn't pick it up, that's you, right? There's no one else coming behind you to pick it up. And I feel like that's so important for people to take ownership. And I feel like if everyone does the same thing and everyone
Wow.
takes ownership of everything, right, that they do, life will be so much simpler,
It would
right?
be excellent.
It would be
It would
great. It
be
would be amazing,
excellent.
right?
Yes.
The person that made your coffee, if they made sure that it was perfect every time, right? You wouldn't have to be like, oh, this coffee, it's hit or miss, right? It's just, I feel like it's just
Take
so many
ownership.
things that grow from that.
Yes.
Um, and just taking it and saying, hey, it's my job. I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure
It
it out,
goes
right?
it goes
Yeah.
beyond. Yeah. Wow. If you think
And
about it, it goes beyond just the simple word ownership. I remember my
yes.
mentor would say, Lucy, when you are the owner of the company, you stop and pick up the paper on the floor
Yeah.
because you are called to be a role model. And that
Yeah.
never left my mind. So I tell my people, I go, look, in my world, there's no prima donnas. In my world, I could walk in looking like $1 million, but I could take off my high heels and mop the floors if I have to. It doesn't make me or break me.
Yep.
I'm a trailblazer. So I love that. Malcolm, what is that one thing you want people to walk away with from this interview with you?
But actually, I want to mention something that my dad he always said, and then he said like, "Do it today because tomorrow is too late." So it is very very true. So many things that you want to be a homeowner, you can do it now. We have programs that we can get you a home with $1,000. That's all you need, and everything else is paid off. If you want to just tell somebody that you love them, just say it now. Maybe tomorrow is late. You're not gonna have that person next to you. If you want to build your business because today you woke up and like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna conquer, and then you don't do it, tomorrow is gonna be late. So is today the moment that you have to do things, because tomorrow maybe there's no day tomorrow.
You know, I have to say with what you said, do it today, don't leave it for tomorrow. I heard a speech from Dante Hebel. He's a Spanish speaker, and he said, you know, the problem is not dying at 60. That's not the real problem, that we may die at 60. He said the problem is that we die at 60 and get buried at 90. And I think that in our society, people have lost vision, they've lost inspiration, they've lost motivation, they've lost their own direction. They're living with no purpose. And as long as humans live without a calling and a purpose and their true identity, yes, Malcolm, in who are you really? You're not a mortgage person. You're not an insurance person. I'm not a real estate broker. We are so much more than what we do. But it's not until we understand that yeah, we do die sometimes at 60. And then we just wait to get buried at 90 when our body catches up. So that was profound. That was profound from both of you.
Thank you.
This has been a deep conversation, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have.
Yes.
I thank you for being here.
Thank you, Lucy. I appreciate you, taking the time to invite us in. Just glad that we could share a little bit of our knowledge. As business owners, it's always, you're built by your experiences. It doesn't just happen, right? So I feel like it was a wonderful topic. Thank you so much for the invitation today.
And then reach out to us, like whoever is watching this, if you need anything, not necessarily sometimes in business, so we can do so much more. And then like we mentioned, and we talked a few minutes ago, don't judge by the book, like the song, don't be fooled with the rock that I got. So
yes,
we can do anything for you. We can help you out. We can be friends. The most important thing is to be a friend. So let's get those connections, and we can help you out with anything that you want to achieve. And the most important things, we cannot forget about God every day, because He is the motion. He is the one who's going to direct us to the best. Every time me and Lauren, when we have issues in the loan, we pray. And then, like that, we have a God and they help us. And when we have those clear to close, and, we said like, damn,
yes.
God.
Yes.
Those are answered prayers, right? Clear to close are answered prayers. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I just had an inspiration. I think we should start a Zoom online Kingdom Business Bible study, even if it's just once a month, something that really, like you're saying, Malcolm and Louis, something that brings us together, right? In more ways than just making money, right? Because at the end of the day, listen, have you ever seen a funeral caravan led by a U-Haul truck? Let's be honest.
No,
there is never been one. There's never going to be a funeral caravan led by a U-Haul truck, because that's just not the way it's going to be. We're going to come in empty. We're going to leave empty. And the only thing we can do is make a difference while we're here. I'm so happy you guys joined me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the mic.
Thank you, Lucy.
I will see you all next time. I don't know if this was your first podcast, but you guys did amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Till next time, guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Maxwell, and I am with the Maxwell Mortgage Team in the state of Florida for 36 years, and I help people finance the American dream. Let me help you. I look forward to meeting you.
Red Sun Insurance. Dándote el poder de crecer. RedZoneInsurance.com. Red Zone Insurance tiene increíbles oportunidades de franquicias y queremos compartirlas contigo. Llama al 305-255-1901 y conocerás el camino a emprender tu propio negocio, tu propia franquicia. 305-255-1901. Red Zone Red Zone